Fighting for freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. The Patrick Riggins Show. Call in now at 865-243-8255. That's 243-TALK. And now your host, Patrick Riggins.
This is Patrick Riggins with the Patrick Riggins Show, having interesting off-mic conversations within the studio.
Off-mic.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Shut up, Brad.
Yeah. It's really good that, of course, if you're on WNOXFM.com, you can watch it online, but it's good that you can't hear it. What's going on in between. Of course, you hear the broadcast, what everyone hears going out on the radio.
Yes.
But the mics are turned off between that.
And that's why they do turn off.
Yes. One day, I'll write a book, and everyone in the audience will know what gets talked about here. So, and Tori will go into hiding.
Yeah, can you wait till my retirement for that to happen?
Yes. All right, this week, the tragic story of what happened in Libya has been, well, and all over the Middle East, has been all over the news this week. And I've had quite a few emails coming in asking, well, what I think of it. By the way, if you want to email the show, the email address is patrickrigginshow@gmail.com. I think the reason I get asked about this sort of thing is because of my unique views towards current events. Views that you'll really hear nowhere else because I'm not there. I'm here. So by tuning in, you will sometimes hear things which you may agree with, and sometimes you will hear things you don't agree with. Contrary to what we are told in society nowadays, that is a good thing. A contrary, or maybe not exactly parallel view of what you think is always good to consider. It keeps you thinking. It keeps you evaluating your positions, so that you can have the confidence to stand for what you believe in. The result is your principles are well thought out and not just adopted from whatever your friends are saying or what you saw on the news last night or some commentators or even mine, although you would do well to seriously consider mine and disregard those others. But anyway, back to Libya. I think it is interesting to watch the politicians all position themselves as outraged about the killing of our ambassador, which, by the way, is a perfectly articulable, if there's a word such as that, act of war. After watching this night after night this week, it hurts our pride and our ego to see what happened. But what is the answer to it? Go over and get some payback? Then what? The lesson here is to learn from what happened. That is how we avenge these people's lives, by not making the same mistakes again and getting more people killed. Otherwise, these people died in vain. If we weren't over there to begin with, then all they could do is burn our flag and scream and yell about us, but who cares? The wannabe leaders in that country do. That's who. You see, by keeping us involved over there, these people have someone for the population to hate. By doing that, it keeps them all focused on how much they hate us, and they don't consider our other traits, such as freedom and liberty. Two things that I'm sure a large majority of the citizenry over there might like to try if given the opportunity. Fear and hatred are really good tools for oppression, though. These religious leaders use them to incite violence towards people or ideas that threaten their power, just like our government uses fear of terrorists, drug users, etc., to accomplish the goals it has. It all boils down to power and exercising it over other people. If the leaders really believed and wanted to follow their religion, then why is it important to drag others along? This is why religions that rely on oppression are not really interested in helping the follower, just empowering the leaders. Hillary Clinton gave a speech when they flew the bodies back home, and she said this: the ambassador and these other Americans gave their lives for others. They didn't give their lives for anyone nor anything. Who would give their life for Libya, a country that is in turmoil? Their lives were taken from them with somewhat of the complicity of the United States government. Much like all these people who have lost their lives in Iraq and Afghanistan, they didn't give their lives for those people. Those lives were taken from them to support a flawed foreign policy. I am not denigrating what these people who have lost their lives over there have done, though. I'm saying it is a waste and a disgrace for our country to be sending Americans to possibly lose their lives for people who don't want them there or don't care. As I mentioned on this show a few weeks ago, we have been meddling in the affairs of the Middle East for far too long. It is interesting to note that oftentimes the reason to not elect Obama is given as it would be history repeating itself. Many conservative commentators have been drawing the line between Obama and Jimmy Carter for a while now. But these same people will turn around and say we need to go into Afghanistan or Syria or Iran, when if you look at history, these people have been fighting in this region for a long, long time. And yet we think all of a sudden we have the answer for them. Are we not learning from history? Oh, I guess we only make that argument if it's in line with what we want to do. So we shouldn't ignore history when it comes to this country, but we should ignore it in all these other countries who have been warring among themselves for what seems like forever. Our government has a really interesting way of not practicing what it preaches on both domestic and foreign relations. We tell other nations not to attack and kill people, yet we do it with an annoying regularity. Our president practically bragged about how he has a kill list of people in the world, people who are subject to extermination without so much of as a trial. We don't even notify them of the, quote, death sentence that has been imposed on them entirely without their knowledge, and also without being given an opportunity to answer the charges. What happened to innocent until proven guilty? Is that not something owed to every human? Or is it just Americans who are special enough for that treatment? Our founders realized humans are born with natural rights, and these must be respected. I would think a right to live is at the very top of that list. But here is our CIA flying pilotless drones all around the world, and not just spying, but killing people with them. I guess if there's not any pilot, it almost becomes like a video game. You know, just watch the monitor, press a button, and presto, another human is removed from planet Earth. Let's face it, our country has become a merchant and promoter of war and killing in the world. 78% of the global arms trade is provided by the United States. We are the top dog in that category. So who comes in second at 5.6%? 5.6% versus our 78%. It's Russia. Everyone else is far behind. It is almost in our best interest to have wars going because it provides so much money to our economy. We also have an estimated 1,000 to 1,200 military bases all around the world. Is there any reason for this? Is there any need? Well, Patrick, you might say, we have to be the world's policemen. We are the good guys. Well, are we? Do good guys kill others without a trial? Do good guys needlessly slaughter citizens of other countries and call it collateral damage? Oh, well, you know, they had it coming. I guess that's what they get for living too close to a terrorist, or what the United States government deems a terrorist anyway. A story out of Yemen a few weeks ago accused the United States of killing 13 civilians in an aerial attack. It was a drone, but still an aerial attack nonetheless. Members of the Yemeni government told reporters that an unmanned aerial vehicle operated remotely by the United States military killed more than a dozen civilians, including 3 women, near a town there in it's the town of Rada, and looks like Al-Baitha province. But anyway, a senior Yemeni defense official said, quote, "This was one of the very few times when our target was completely missed. It was a mistake, but we hope it will not hurt our anti-terror efforts in the region," unquote. Does not anyone else find this crazy? It is no wonder why the people in the Middle East hate the United States. I would hate a country that is violating our sovereign airspace and killing our citizens. Yet we continue with this insanity, telling ourselves we are defeating the enemy. But our so-called defeating of the enemy is only fueling its growth. So when does it all end? When we've killed everyone in the Middle East? When everyone over there signs a declaration of allegiance to the United States? When the head of an organization sits down and signs a peace agreement? But wait, there isn't a head, and there isn't just one organization. So how can this war ever be over? The truth of the matter is, no one making money or acquiring power is interested in having this war be over. They're making too much money, and governments around the world are getting too much power from it. After all, if you are a leader of a third world country and you have some political opponents you need eliminated, what better way than to ring up the United States and tell them you're having a terrorist problem? Hello, CIA? Hey, yeah, I need you to come over and eliminate some Al-Qaeda from my country. And of course, the CIA is more than happy to come over and accommodate you. That is just one more base they can use in that part of the world. Heck, we'll probably even give that country some foreign aid for the leaders to put away in Swiss bank accounts. After we hire all of their friends and relatives to help out with the operation, of course, the leader will be set for life. Surprisingly, the American public is either largely unaware or they don't care about these shenanigans. That's partly what we're doing on this radio show, trying to raise the level of awareness. I want you to think about these things and look at what our government is doing overseas and how it's wrong and how we need to stop it. Again, the way to stop that, putting pressure on Congress. We've come up on the half-hour break here on the Patrick Riggin Show. We'll be back with some more. And, well, I don't know what we'll talk about maybe the Afghan attack and some other things. We'll be back after these messages.